It's time again for another Top 10. Today, we are going to be talking about the top 10 comic book movies of all time. Of course, like always, this is our opinion. I'll start with my honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is V for Vendetta. This is the Wachowskis written movie. Some people think that they actually directed this movie.
Allegedly.
Because it feels like a Wachowskis movie. But I really love this movie. Every November 5th, I pull this sucker out, watch it on Blu-ray. It is one of my favorite movies to watch. And it's just, Natalie Portman, it's one of her best performances, I think. I love her in that movie. I love just everything about it. And if it is really a Wachowskis movie, to me, it's their best movie. Alright, my next honorable mention is 300. Everybody knows how my feelings are for 300. If you don't, it is just one of my all-time favorite movies, based on a comic book by Mark Millar, and it's just freaking, this movie really changed special effects. Some people think for the good, or people think for the better. I just love this movie. I even love the sequel, and nobody really talks about it. But it's freaking awesome. Just visually it looks amazing, and I know it's got a lot of slow-mo and it's not historically accurate, but who cares? It's freaking awesome. It's bloody, and just, I remember sitting in the theater watching this and being blown away. My next honorable mention is X-Men First Class. This was kind of like a reboot of the X-Men after the horrible failure that was the Wolverine origin movie. Matthew Vaughn directs this sucker. You got Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender. They are all awesome in this movie, and it's still one of the better X-Men movies. I actually like this movie than all the older ones. I know there's people that really love X-Men 2, but for me, it was an awesome movie, and it doesn't focus on Wolverine, which is pretty cool because I always thought the other X-Men movies focused too much on Wolverine. Kevin Bacon in this is an underrated
very menacing villain.
Yeah, I like him.
My first honorable mention is Man of Steel. I absolutely love Man of Steel. I've never been the hugest Superman fan. I really like Superman animated series, Superman in the Justice League. But I was never really a fan of the original Richard Donner Superman movie. And Zack Snyder he tells his story of Superman in modern day. He changes the characters up. I love what they did. Instead of Lois Lane not knowing who Superman is, Lois Lane knows who Superman is. And I love it. And the villain, General Zod, Michael Shannon's villain of General Zod, is probably one of my favorite comic book villains in the past 5 years of comic book movies, because you see where he's coming from. My favorite kind of villains is a villain you can say he's like I'm the hero. He's the hero of his own story. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He's like, I did this all for my people. That's what I was born to do, and you took that from me. I'm going to destroy you, Cal. And I just love this movie, and the score, Hans Zimmer's score, Superman, is so good. I absolutely love this movie. Alright, and then my next honorable mention is Guardians of the Galaxy. I absolutely love the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Very fun movie. I really like the cast. Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Rocket Raccoon played by Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel as Groot. And it's just a really cool, fun movie. And the soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks. One thing I love about the movie was just the soundtrack becomes a character in its own story. And it's a very cool movie, and I'm hoping we'll get a good sequel to that one day. My next honorable mention is Logan. The movie just came out. I really like Logan. Hugh Jackman's final appearance as Wolverine. I really enjoyed the movie. I love the R-rate. I love that you actually see blood on the claws. I love X-23. I talked to a guy a week or two ago, and he was talking about, he's like, man, I wish they would have shown the scene at Westchester of Patrick Stewart wiping everyone out. I was like, really? I don't. Because just like the original Star Wars movie, you don't need Obi-Wan Kenobi to explain event by event of the Clone Wars of Luke Skywalker. Kind of stuff left in mystery. And little Easter eggs in there is all you really need. But I really love Logan. I'm sure you'll talk about it in a bit. But it's a good movie. It's one of the best movies of the year so far.
Alright. My 10 is the original Spider-Man. I've never really seen Spider-Man on the big screen, and I just remember just being blown away by this. Now, I haven't watched it recently. I don't know how well it holds up. I know you've been re-watching them. I'm sure the special effects and stuff.
The CGI of him swinging does not look good anymore.
So, you know, maybe I need to rewatch them, but I do remember being just mesmerized at the theater. I don't remember watching X-Men in the theater, but I do remember watching Spider-Man in the theater.
I saw Spider-Man in the drive-thru.
Being a big, crazy blockbuster. That's my number 10. So Iron Man is my number 9, and this is the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Robert Downey Jr.'s come back right here, and it was just so cool. It was funny, it had great action, and it was just made comic book movies cool again. I mean, we had the super dark Dark Knight thing going on, but Iron Man was just like fun and just was awesome to me, and still one of the better MCU films in my opinion. My number 8 is one of my favorite movies of all time, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This is my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and I just freaking love this movie. I don't know why you hate it. Maybe you need to rewatch it again. It's funny, it's so just crazy and unique, and it's just so much fun. I never get sick of watching this movie. This is another one of those movies I watch every year, and it's just one of the movies I love. Funny.
Don't care for it.
And it's just very unique. I mean, there's nothing really quite like it. That's, I guess, why I like it so much. Number 7, I'm going with Deadpool. This came out last year. Another revolution. You notice a lot of my picks, I can think they're revolutionary. This was, an R-rated comic book movie that poked fun at comic book movies, poked fun of itself, had a great marketing campaign, and this isn't a comic book movie for kids, and it knew it, and it was just super funny. Ryan Reynolds was perfect as Deadpool, and it's crazy how good it was for the small amount of budget, and the fact that this movie was in development forever and basically got pushed in development because of the fans. I just love Deadpool. My number 6 is Kick-Ass. This is my favorite Matthew Vaughn movie, one of my top 10 movies of all time, and it's just such another unique rated R comic book movie. I know I said Deadpool kind of revolutionized. That's because not a lot of people watch Kick-Ass. It's kind of a cult hit. Freaking Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy, freaking awesome. Hit Girl, when Hit Girl does the whole hallway scene, oh my gosh, I lost my freaking mind. That is my 10 through 6. Take it away, Darth Easy. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Deadpool. Just came out last year, was in my top 10 movies of last year. Really loved the movie. Ryan Reynolds was great. The villain, a little forgettable. Ajax was a little bit of a, Francis. But, Ryan Reynolds breaking the fourth wall. I mean, that's what made Deadpool so cool. The marketing campaign, I would say the most successful marketing campaign in movie history. And the movie made a lot of money. Very fun movie. And it's just a great movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing Deadpool 2. My number 9 is the movie I think actually started, which was actually allowed Deadpool to be so successful, and that's Kingsman: The Secret Service. Don't forget, Kingsman: The Secret Service came out the year before, R-rated comic book movie, and it made a lot of money, and it was up against it because it came out the same weekend as 50 Shades of Grey, and Kingsman kept making money, now we're getting a sequel this year. Love the movie, it's very nostalgic to the classic James Bond movies. And that's why I really like the movie, and I absolutely love Kingsman: The Secret Service. And that church scene, an action scene lasting as long as Freebird, what more do you want in the movie?
It's crazy how much Matthew Vaughn is in this list.
My number 8 is Iron Man, the start of the MCU. I really love this movie. Robert Downey Jr. just embodies Tony Stark. He starts out this really character who's been broken, and he goes and then he almost dies and has to become Iron Man, become a better person, and it was proven right because Marvel's remade that movie a couple times. And I really, really like Iron Man. The villain's a little forgettable, but other than that, I really, really love Iron Man. And my number 7, The Avengers. The Avengers is a movie which was an idea where, how are you going to get 5 big comic book characters, get 5 big A-list stars to all share screen time, and it's a project it just hurts your head. And when you see them all 5 in New York, all with the circle shot, you see it all the time, and with the iconic Avengers score. I love me some movie scores. The Avengers score is just so good. And plot's a little, we won't talk about that. The villain, Loki, did a good job. I like him better than Thor. But I really, really love The Avengers. It's just a fun movie. My number 6 is another MCU movie, and that's Captain America Civil War. I absolutely love Civil War. The airport scene alone makes the movie so cool. But really, the one of the things I really liked about the movie was something I didn't like when I first saw the villain Zemo, where he's like, I can't take these heroes down. Stronger men than me have tried. So what can I do? I can pit them against each other and the whole world will explode. And I really respect that as a villain. Very cool, like Lex Luthor, puppet master idea about it. Like I said, the action scene is cool, and I really, really love Captain America Civil War. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. And that concludes my 10 through 6.
Alright, my number 5 is X-Men Days of Future Past. This is my favorite X-Men movie. I freaking love Days of Future Past. It was like the perfect balance of time travel. It had brought the old cast and the new cast together. It had an awesome villain. It was a Wolverine I could get behind, because up until this point, like I said, I was kind of, over Wolverine as a character. And I just love it. Jennifer Lawrence in this movie. I know they put a lot more focus on her, but I liked her in this almost as much as I did in First Class. This was a perfect movie for me in pretty much every way. I love Days of Future Past. My number 4, Captain America Winter Soldier. I remember going and seeing this movie, and just at the end, my jaw was just like holy crap, because I don't like the first Captain America, and I felt like Iron Man was MCU's, it man, and this was the moment for me when Captain America kind of superseded Iron Man as the front man for the MCU. I love how they went to modern time, and it became like this spy movie, which was crazy, and it's action packed. The action scenes are so good, and it's just freaking awesome. I love the whole twist about how Hydra was inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole time. It's freaking awesome stuff, I love Winter Soldier. My number 3 is another Captain America movie, Captain America Civil War. This is my favorite MCU movie. Like he said, the action scene in the airport, that's, just show me that 20-minute scene. Really, what else do you know? The rest of the movie is awesome too, but that scene is so freaking good. I watched it many times now. It's freaking awesome, but I love a lot of the other things too. I do think that the villain in the movie, a lot of people use that as a weakness. Every time I watch it, I kind of like it a little bit better. Civil War was freaking awesome. It's going to be hard for an MCU film to beat that for me. My number 2, freaking Logan. This came out just a few months ago. I've seen it 3 times now. 3 times. And let me tell you, I'm on the campiest side of things. This movie is a freaking masterpiece through and through. You don't understand. I don't like Wolverine. I've said it multiple times. I didn't like Wolverine being the main focus of X-Men 2 and X-Men. It seemed like, and then we got 2 other Wolverine movies. I thought the Wolverine was okay. But when I started seeing trailers for this movie, I thought, I'm probably going to love this movie. And it is a freaking masterpiece. It is like not even really a comic book movie. That's what's so crazy. It feels, like you said, like a Western. It feels like a noir. It's freaking dark. It's perfect. The R rating's perfect for it. It's sad. The father in me relates to it on a million levels. X-23 is freaking badass. We better get that girl in another X-Men movie because she's going to be awesome. And I just freaking love this movie. That is my 5 through 2. Take it away, Big Easy. What do you got?
My number 5 is probably my favorite, like one of my favorite origin stories. I'm a sucker for origin stories. And you know, after a disastrous movie in 1997, this character was pretty much forgotten about. And I'm talking about Batman Begins. And I think it took Joe Schumacher taking Batman down to the grave in order for Warner Brothers to say, for Christopher Nolan's pitch to Warner Brothers saying, I want to do a little darker movie, and instead of doing a stupid jokey Batman the 1960s series with Adam West, we get a dark story, dark origin story. You see the murder of his parents. You see him basically becoming a ninja. You have a great villain in Ra's al Ghul. They taking a little spin on the comic book. It's like, but is Ra's al Ghul immortal? Or does his ideas live forever? Instead of like what they did in Arrow and with Ra's al Ghul. That's more like comic book. But I absolutely love Christian Bale as Batman. Bruce Wayne, I'll talk a little about that a little later. And I absolutely love Batman Begins. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. My number 4 is basically a remake of one of my favorite movies of all time, of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's X-Men Days of Future Past. Someone can argue that X-Men Days of Future Past is a remake of Terminator 2 because Xavier, he sends someone back in time to help himself, and then they have to go on a mission to save the future.
I never really thought about it like that. It's pretty cool.
But basically, I love this movie. This is my favorite performance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I love Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I love Wolverine, the X-Men 2. I love him and Stryker relationship in X-Men 2. But I absolutely love this movie. I love the scene when you see Xavier, he's just breaking down. He's got nothing really to live for. And in that scene when Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy are talking, they're basically talking to himself, but a future version of himself. I mean, I get goosebumps every time I see that scene alone. And I absolutely love this movie. And Michael Fassbender as Magneto, always terrific seeing him in that role. Absolutely love X-Men Days of Future Past. My number 3 is Captain America Winter Soldier. This is my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. I absolutely love spy movies, and I was like, this is like Captain America meets Jason Bourne, because I really love the first Captain America, the first Avenger movie, and I was looking forward to when it actually went to modern day, and I really enjoyed the modern day Captain America's Winter Soldier movie, because you add these spy elements of Hydra being infested in S.H.I.E.L.D. the entire time. I was just like, that was crazy. That was also our first mention of Doctor Strange in that movie. And the action in the movie, one of the things I always applaud this movie for is you get action, story. Action, story, action, story. It keeps the movie really balanced. It's probably one of the more rewatchable Marvel movies. I can watch this movie anytime. I own it on Blu-ray. Absolutely love this movie. And my number 2 is X-Men First Class. One thing I love about this movie is I'm a history fanatic. Love the idea of they're bringing in mutants with the Cuban Missile Crisis of the United States and Russia, and you had a character who was a former Nazi trying to plot the two together because nuclear weapons are basically how mutants become more powerful. I love the idea of it. And one thing I also really love about this movie is you really see the relationship more than any other X-Men movie. It's the relationship between Charles Xavier and Magneto. And I compare it to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Martin Luther King more passive, wants to change the world peacefully. Malcolm X, he'll go with the violence. And that's the relationship between two. This is how Anakin and Obi-Wan should have been done in the Star Wars prequels. This relationship is just so great. And that's what makes the movie so good for me. I absolutely love it. And the music, the score, once again, the score of X-Men First Class is so good. Absolutely love X-Men First Class. That's why it's number 2 for me. And now it's time for our number 1s.
I don't know, we have the same number 1. Because, we've got The Dark Knight, man. Freaking, let's just get it out of the way. Heath Ledger is amazing in this movie.
Oh yeah, the Joker in this movie is so great. The opening scene of the movie, the bank heist scene, they're all talking about the Joker, and basically Joker wipes out his entire crew, and it's just such a great way to introduce the movie. And then just some of his dialogue. I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
Yeah.
It's gone. It is such a great movie. I absolutely love this movie. It's my number 6 movie in my top 10 movies of all time. I absolutely love The Dark Knight. Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman, great. Bringing in Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face / Harvey Dent. Some people don't like that. I absolutely really like that. I thought it felt really natural in the movie, and I just love this movie.
I freaking love it too. It's, been my favorite comic book movie of all time. Like I said, Logan snuck up on it, but I mean, it's the greatest villain of all time. The performance, everything is freaking spectacular. It's a dark movie, but it's so rewatchable, so good. All the performances. I like you. I love Two-Face. I love Christian Bale in this movie. He's good in all 3 movies, but in this movie, there's just something about this movie that I freaking love, and it deserves to be the best comic book movie all around.
The Dark Knight is the gold standard of comic book movies. I don't ever see a comic book movie touching The Dark Knight, just like I don't ever see another crime movie touching The Godfather. I don't see another science fiction movie touching Star Wars. The Dark Knight is the gold standard of comic book movies.
That is our top 10 comic book movies of all time. Dorothy, this was fun. We should do it again.
We will. We'll do it, and we're going to do another top 10 in probably maybe September before Blade Runner comes out. We're going to do top 10 science fiction movies of all time. So that'll be on my channel or your channel. We'll figure that out.
Alrighty, well, until next time.
All too easy.
Peace out.